Have you ever stopped to wonder if the most perfect love you've ever experienced might actually be a dangerous trap? Today, we're going to uncover the 11 signs of a narcissist's fake love. I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to see right through toxic people. You'll learn the secrets they desperately try to hide behind the mask of the ideal partner. Let's start with a paradox. The person who shouts their love for you the loudest is often the one least capable of actually feeling it. It sounds harsh, but in the world of relationship psychology, it's a cold, hard truth. We're conditioned to believe in grand gestures and beautiful words. But what if it's all just an elaborate theatrical performance, and you've been cast in the role of the victim? I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment below if you've ever felt like a perfect relationship suddenly turned into a living nightmare. Share your story, because your experience might be the wake-up call someone else needs today. Now let's dive into the dark world of narcissistic illusions. To understand how fake love operates, we need to look at the history and psychology behind it. The term narcissism comes from the ancient Greek myth of Narcissus, a beautiful young man who fell in love with his own reflection and stayed by the water until he died, unable to look away. In modern psychology, narcissistic personality disorder is a serious condition. These individuals have a deeply distorted perception of themselves and the world around them. Deep down, they are hiding a massive internal void and cripplingly low self-esteem. To survive the crushing weight of their own worthlessness, they construct a false self, a mask of greatness and perfection they show to the world. But this false persona requires constant refueling from the outside. Psychologists call this narcissistic supply. They crave admiration, attention, control, and the intense emotions of others. This is precisely why they enter relationships. They aren't looking for a partner to love and support. They are looking for a donor who will provide a steady, uninterrupted flow of the emotional resources they need to survive. Let's break this down from the very beginning. The first major red flag of fake love is something called love bombing. Picture this. You've only just met someone. It's been a matter of days, yet they're already flooding your phone with messages, showering you with lavish gifts, and swearing they'll love you forever. It feels like you've stepped right into a cinematic romance. Your brain is suddenly overwhelmed by a massive rush of dopamine and oxytocin. You feel like the most important, unique, and desired person on the planet. A narcissist will do everything in their power to make you believe in this illusion. They'll listen to you for hours, look deep into your eyes, and tell you they've been searching for someone like you their entire life. But what's actually happening behind the scenes? This bombing has nothing to do with genuine affection. It is a cold, calculated strategy designed to reel you in and take control. Let's look at a classic example of love bombing to debunk a common myth. Many people buy into the idea of love at first sight. We're conditioned to believe that instant, all-consuming passion is the ultimate sign of true love. But in reality, healthy relationships take time. They grow gradually, step by step, as two people truly get to know one another. A narcissist, however, will force the pace. Here's how it looks in real life. You go on a first date, and by the second, they're already suggesting you move in together or talking about having children. They call you 20 times a day, and if you don't answer immediately, they get anxious or even angry. This is a calculated tactic to lower your guard and shut down your critical thinking. When you're caught up in that whirlwind of euphoria, you stop noticing the red flags. You end up handing over control of your life, all because you've fallen for a beautiful but completely fake fairy tale. Now let's move on to the second sign, which is closely linked to the first, the mirror effect, or simply mirroring. In the early stages of a relationship, a narcissist transforms into your perfect double. Do you love old French films? It turns out they adore them too. Do you dream of living by the ocean? That's been their lifelong dream as well. Are you a fan of some obscure indie band? They've been listening to them since they were a kid. Narcissists have an uncanny ability to read your desires, your interests, and your values. They then reflect all of that back to you as if it were their own personality. When you look at them, you think you've finally met your soulmate. You feel a sense of total harmony and understanding. But the truth is, a narcissist lacks a stable core identity. They are like a chameleon, shifting colors to match whatever tree they happen to be on. They mimic you so that you don't fall in love with them, but with your own reflection. It's time to debunk the myth of so-called twin flames. Spiritual circles often portray having identical interests as a sign from the universe, but in reality, a perfect match on every single level is a massive red flag. Think about it. Everyone is different, with their own unique life experiences and tastes. If someone agrees with you on absolutely everything, it's simply not natural. You can spot this kind of mirroring if you pay close attention. Try changing your mind about something. Tell them you've suddenly lost interest in a band you used to love. A narcissist will flip-flop instantly, claiming they've grown tired of them too. They are constantly molding themselves to fit your world just to become indispensable to you. This illusion of a perfect match is designed to make you form an intense attachment as quickly as possible. But the moment you're hooked, the mirror shatters, leaving you with a cold, distant stranger. The third sign of false love is a profound lack of genuine empathy. This is a crucial concept in understanding the narcissistic mind. Psychologists generally recognize two types of empathy: cognitive and emotional. Cognitive empathy is purely intellectual. It's the ability to logically understand what someone else is going through. Emotional empathy, however, is the capacity to actually feel another person's pain as your own. Narcissists are often experts in cognitive empathy. They know exactly when you're hurting, sad, or afraid. They know the right words to say because they've studied the social script, but they are fundamentally incapable of emotional empathy. Your pain doesn't echo in their heart. To them, your emotions are simply data, information to be used for their own ends. This is why their sympathy always feels mechanical, superficial, and rehearsed. So, what does this look like in the real world? Let's look at a classic example of a total lack of empathy. Picture this. You've come down with a severe illness. You're stuck in bed with a high fever, and you ask your partner to pick up some medicine or simply stay by your side for a while. A healthy person would naturally feel worried and do everything they can to take care of you. But a narcissist, they'll likely feel nothing but irritation. To them, your illness is just an inconvenience. You've stopped being a useful resource and started demanding attention. They might coldly toss a bottle of pills on the table and walk out to go about their business, complaining that you're always ruining the mood. Or even worse, they might accuse you of getting sick on purpose just to attract attention. In these moments of genuine vulnerability, the mask of the perfect partner finally slips. You are left alone with someone who is completely indifferent to your suffering. Their love is strictly conditional. It only exists as long as you are healthy, successful, and useful to them. The fourth sign is the gradual isolation from your friends and family. A narcissist understands that your loved ones are your support system and your anchor to reality. Friends might notice red flags in their behavior and try to warn you, while your family might point out how anxious or withdrawn you've become. To a manipulator, this is a massive threat. They need you to depend solely on them so they can become the only source of truth and emotion in your life. This isolation doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle and calculated, like a poison administered in microscopic doses. At first, it's disguised as intense, overwhelming love. They'll tell you they want to spend every spare moment with you, claiming they don't need anyone else as long as they have you. You feel flattered, and almost without realizing it, you begin turning down friends and skipping family gatherings just to be with them. Let's look at how a narcissist systematically dismantles your social life. Imagine you're heading out to meet a friend you've known for 10 years. Suddenly, the narcissist puts on a sad face, claiming they've had an awful day and need your support right this second, so you cancel your plans. Next, they start subtly criticizing the people closest to you. They'll drop casual remarks about your mother being too controlling or your best friend being secretly jealous. They are planting seeds of doubt in your mind. And there is a dangerous myth we need to debunk, the idea that if a partner is jealous of your friends, it means they love you deeply. In reality, it's a craving for total control. Eventually, you end up in a social vacuum. You have no one to turn to for help and no one to give you a reality check. You're completely isolated, and that is exactly when a narcissist can mold you into whatever they want. The fifth sign of fake love is what's known as future faking. This is a narcissist's favorite tool for keeping you hooked in a relationship. They are absolute masters at selling you a dream that doesn't exist. A narcissist will promise you an incredible fairy tale future. They'll describe your lavish wedding in vivid detail, the beautiful house by the ocean you'll buy together, and even the names of your 3 children. They tell you exactly what you've always wanted to hear. If you dream of travel, they'll start planning a trip around the world. If you long for a quiet family life, they'll paint a perfect picture of a cozy home and a life by the fireplace. You start living for these hopes. Your mind latches on to this beautiful vision, and you become willing to endure any mistreatment or emotional coldness in the present, all for the sake of that wonderful future they've promised. The reality is that future is never going to happen. To understand the scale of this manipulation, let's look at a real-life example. Imagine your relationship has reached a breaking point. The narcissist has become cold, started staying out late without explanation, and constantly puts you down. You finally find the strength to tell him you're leaving, and then a miracle happens. He drops to his knees, pulls out a ring, and pleads, "Honey, I was just booking tickets to Paris to propose. I finally realized I want to start a family with you." Your heart melts, you forgive him, and you stay. But a week later, those tickets to Paris are miraculously cancelled due to unforeseen work issues. And any mention of children? It's shut down immediately. The myth is that he simply couldn't keep his word because of bad luck. The reality is that he never intended to follow through. Future faking is nothing more than a verbal bribe to keep you on the hook. He is buying your time and your devotion with counterfeit promises. The sixth sign of toxic love is triangulation. It sounds like a technical term, but the reality behind it is both simple and cruel. Triangulation is when a third person is pulled into your relationship dynamic. A narcissist thrives on the idea of people fighting for their attention. It's how they feed their ego and feel important. They intentionally create situations designed to make you feel insecure, jealous, and question your own worth. This third person could be anyone. An ex they stay suspiciously close to, a colleague they mention just a little too often, or even a waitress they flirt with right in front of you. They trap you in an invisible triangle where you're always on edge, stuck in a constant state of competition. Before you know it, you're bending over backwards just to prove that you're better than this imaginary rival. Triangulation works so seamlessly that the victim rarely realizes what's actually happening. Picture this. You're at home, and he gets a text. He smiles mysteriously as he reads it, and when you ask who it is, he says, "Oh, it's just my ex. She's having some trouble, and apparently I'm the only one who can help." If you start to get upset, he'll immediately flip the script. He'll say, "You're being so paranoid, you're way too jealous. Am I not even allowed to have friends anymore?" There's a common myth that jealousy is a sign of love. In reality, a narcissist intentionally pulls those strings just to provoke an emotional reaction. While you're crying, starting arguments, or checking his phone, he feels powerful, almost godlike. He feeds on your insecurity. A healthy partner protects your peace and avoids situations that might hurt you. A narcissist, however, creates those situations on purpose, acting as the director of a very cruel play. Sign number 7 is the hot and cold game. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It is one of the most powerful ways to create an addiction, working exactly like a slot machine in a casino. If a narcissist were always cruel, you would leave them in a heartbeat. Instead, they cycle between moments of incredible tenderness and periods of icy indifference. One day, they're treating you like royalty, showering you with affection, and bringing you breakfast in bed. You feel happy, safe, and completely relaxed. But the next day, they suddenly turn cold. They look right through you, give you one-word answers, and make it clear that your very presence is an annoyance. You're left wondering what went wrong, frantically searching for the fault within yourself. You think, maybe I said the wrong thing, I'm not good enough, or I just need to try harder. It is a cycle that pushes your mental state to the absolute breaking point. Let's look at a real-life example of how the hot and cold game actually works. Imagine you've just had an incredible weekend together. It was filled with romance, laughter, and talk about the future. You're on cloud 9. Then Monday rolls around. You send him a sweet morning text. He reads it but doesn't reply. You wait until lunch and try again, but all you get back is a cold one-word answer. By evening, he's not even picking up his phone. Your anxiety starts to skyrocket. The rejection feels almost physically painful. When he finally resurfaces 3 days later, he acts as if nothing happened. And the moment he shows you even a tiny bit of affection, your brain gets such a massive hit of dopamine that you're ready to forgive him for everything. This emotional roller coaster turns you into an addict. You start living for those rare sparks of warmth while enduring the cold shoulder and the disrespect the rest of the time. The 8th sign is gaslighting. This is a severe form of psychological abuse where a manipulator makes you question your own sanity, your memory, and your very perception of reality. The term comes from the classic film Gaslight, where a husband drives his wife to the brink of madness by subtly changing things in their home and then denying it ever happened. A narcissist does the exact same thing, but they target your emotions and your memories. Whenever you try to bring up a problem or point out a lie, they will never take responsibility. Instead, they'll calmly and confidently tell you that never happened. You're just imagining things, or you're overreacting. If you hear this long enough, you actually start to believe it. You stop trusting your own eyes and ears. Eventually, you're left feeling completely helpless, trapped in a reality that only they get to define. The scariest thing about gaslighting is how ordinary it feels. Imagine you've agreed to meet at 8 o'clock. You wait outside in the freezing cold for an entire hour. He finally shows up at 9. When you're rightfully upset, he looks at you with total disbelief and says, "We agreed on 9. Is your memory failing you again? You seriously need to get your head checked." If you start to cry, he hits you with the classic line, "You're just too sensitive. You're making a scene over nothing." There's a dangerous myth here, the idea that this is just a simple misunderstanding. In reality, gaslighting is a calculated strike at your self-esteem. A narcissist systematically erodes your sense of reality until you can no longer trust your own mind. And once you lose that inner foundation, you become the perfect, submissive puppet in the hands of a master manipulator. The ninth sign of fake love is its transactional nature. To a narcissist, love is never unconditional. It's a currency, a commodity, a business deal. He doesn't love you for who you are. He values you for what you can do for him. There is a constant calculator running in his head asking, what do I gain from this relationship? It could be money, status, a comfortable lifestyle, or your social connections. Often, it's just the image of being a successful family man in the eyes of society. As long as you play your part and keep delivering value, he will maintain the illusion of a healthy relationship. But narcissistic love always comes with strings attached, conditions written in the fine print. Every kind gesture and every gift is not an act of genuine care. It is an investment, and he will eventually demand a return on that investment with heavy interest. You will always be left feeling like you owe him. To give you a better idea, here's what transactional love actually looks like in practice. Imagine a narcissist buys you an expensive phone for your birthday. You're genuinely thrilled and grateful. But just a week later, you turn down a request. Say, you refuse to cancel a visit with your mother just to stay with him. That's when the gift comes back to haunt you. He'll tell you, either directly or through heavy hints. I do everything for you. I bought you that iPhone, and you can't even do this one thing for me? Suddenly, that gift becomes a chain he uses to keep you in line. Or take another example. He supports your career, but only as long as your success boosts his own ego. The second you start outshining him or making more money, the devaluation begins. Real love celebrates your wins without an agenda. But a narcissist's love always comes with a price tag. To him, you aren't a partner to be loved. You're a tool, a high-end appliance like a microwave or a luxury car. Sign number 10 is absolute blame shifting. A narcissist will never, under any circumstances, take responsibility for their actions. Their false ego is so incredibly fragile that admitting a mistake feels like a death sentence. This is why in every conflict or argument you are always the one at fault. Psychologists often refer to this as the narcissist's prayer. It goes like this: that didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't that bad, and if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault, and if it was, I didn't mean it, and if I did, you deserved it. This logical chain perfectly illustrates their mindset. They are masters at twisting facts and manipulating reality, often to the point where you find yourself apologizing for the pain they caused you. Over time, this erodes your sense of justice and leaves you constantly feeling like you're the bad person. The 11th and final sign is the brutal discard phase. This is the most devastating stage of all because it proves that every year leading up to this moment was nothing more than an illusion. Eventually, a narcissist drains their victim completely. Once you are emotionally exhausted, physically ill, and stripped of your support system, you are no longer of use to them. So they simply throw you away. It happens suddenly, ruthlessly, and often without a word of explanation. One day they are professing their love, the next they are packing their bags to move on to a new target, someone they've likely been grooming behind your back for months. Let's debunk one final myth. Many victims believe that if they had only tried harder, they could have saved the relationship. But that's not true. This ending was set in stone from day one. It is impossible to please a narcissist because their inner void is a bottomless pit that can never be filled. The cold, calculated way they erase you from their life is the ultimate proof that, for them, there wasn't a single moment of genuine love. To wrap things up, we have to face a bitter but essential truth. A narcissist's love is nothing more than a carefully crafted trap. The most profound realization you'll ever have is that the extraordinary love you felt at the start of the relationship was actually just a reflection of your own light. The narcissist wasn't giving you anything, they were simply mirroring your own capacity to love and projecting it back at you. The coldness, the betrayals, and the cruelty you faced in the end, none of that was your fault. It is a direct manifestation of their inner void and a deep-seated personality disorder. You could never have fixed them with your love because you cannot fill a bottomless pit. Recognizing these 11 signs is your first real step toward freedom and healing. If you saw your own relationship in this description, please do not be afraid to reach out for help and walk away. Thank you for watching until the end. Remember, your awareness is your best defense. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and share it with someone who might need this lifeline right now. And finally, I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 11 signs surprised or shocked you the most?